119 with some proposed additions. To the best of my knowledge, none of the board members has discussed this policy yet with each other. So we've all read this and we all have our own thoughts, I'm sure, on this. So I guess we'll start just by going through what this is saying. You can look at the TV screens to get a better idea of what it is saying. When you're looking at this, what you're seeing is anything that is not highlighted is the current policy. You will see in the first paragraph, there is something highlighted in pink that is striking the current policy. And then you will see in the green where proposed changes are made. So where this came from was from a policy from another school district. It's the Pencrest School District. So this is from the Pencrest School District. And basically, our administration took the items or some items from the Pencrest policy and proposed to add those to our current policy. So I guess we can go through that. Does any of you guys have anything you want to say before we start going through? Okay. So basically we're saying the board believes that consideration of current events, and then we're adding, including controversial issues, has a legitimate place in the educational program of the schools. Examples include the war in Iraq, the Twin Towers attack, the Florida presidential election voting controversy, we're talking from the early 2000s, and critical race theory. Properly introduced and conducted discussion of such events can help students learn to identify important issues, explore fully and fairly all sides of an issue, weigh carefully the values and factors involved, and develop skills for formulating and evaluating positions. And I want to invite anybody on the committee, if you have an issue or a comment as I read this, you can go ahead and just make that whenever you need to.
I was waiting until you got done reading that paragraph. I'm against having critical race theory in that. Critical race theory is a theory that invites divisive teachings, and it also makes it hard for an administration to police all the employees to make sure that they're not interjecting opinions of their own. And I just think that's what this is all about. We do not want critical race theory being taught in our schools.
I actually agree with you, Ron. And I guess my question is, I don't mind if a student like in a civics class says, what is this that everyone's talking about? But I thought at the very least, there should be clarity that we will not instruct.
Right.
You know what I mean? So answering a question is different from, so.
So are you proposing we just strike that out right with a replacement or with no replacement?
With no replacement.
Okay. Are you agreeable to that? Sue?
It probably should follow example.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the Twin Towers or 9/11 is.
That's a little dated.
No, I meant that one is a good example. Yeah, I mean, I don't. Right, I mean, if we leave any, the only one I would leave is the Twin Towers. Because it's an example of something that wouldn't, I guess, is it in the curriculum? So, yeah, I'm okay with striking everything.
Well, here's my feeling on the Twin Towers. That's something that we don't ever want to forget.
Right. Right, and I don't think that's what they're saying. They're just saying just not including examples. So that people don't say, well, this doesn't, something comes up, this doesn't match one of these examples. So maybe we're not gonna deal with that.
Well, actually, it's not, but as
We can-
committee, as a
yeah, we
committee
can-
member,
Right.
I
Right,
agree.
I would agree to that.
This thing.
Or current events.
Pick and choose. The key concept is, when you get down to, the teachers are not gonna teach a divisive concept, nor are they going to indoctrinate or make a student accept a theory, one way or the other. Those are the key concepts that are in the policies, and I think taking examples out is probably bad.
I'm okay with taking the examples out. What do you guys think?
I'd like to hear from Dan because this policy change is for the administration to have a footing should they find something wrong with the way something's being taught. So I'd like to hear from Dan on.
Yeah, I don't policy, you're getting too detailed there. You have definitions later. Which would help an administrator identify what you're talking about, your controversial issue, current event, divisive concept, indoctrination. Those examples that add nothing and actually take the policy. I don't see any for any examples of that.
All right.
Right, and I guess technically, if you're talking about the Twin Towers, there might be the potential for people of certain dissents or religions to.
And I'm sure we have more issues coming down the road. in the
Yeah.
future.
Yes.
It
Okay.
just doesn't make sense to have it.
Okay, so we're all in agreement to strike the examples. Okay. Yeah, yes, we technically, it's up to the committee to decide if the public can speak, and I think, I actually haven't asked Sue, but Ron and I have both already agreed that the public should be allowed to speak.
But we think that after we go over this whole policy, that would be the time for the public to speak on, because that'd be before a vote to bring it out of committee, so.
Okay, we're ready to move on?
And I'm not sure if this is where we want to add it. Or if we want to add it under guidelines, maybe Dan can help me on this. But I think something needs to be added, where sexually explicit material not be exposed to the students at all. We know it happens, or I'll leave it at that. So, Dan,
Would you, to what degree?
there's, the thing about it is, when I say sexually explicit, I'm talking porn,
It's like describing.
describing
acts.
sexual acts. Yes,
Is there a different
Other than health
policy
class, I
about
get,
that?
I mean. Because that would be.
Yeah, I'm thinking that would be a
curriculum, right? Or
different policy because this is current events, controversial issues.
Would it be curriculum?
I mean, off the top of my head, I'm not sure exactly what we do have on that.
109 is resource.
There's any, other than the tech policy, I don't think there's any specific.
Is 107 planned instruction purpose or not really?
Well, under guidelines, the first sentence under guidelines is materials proposed to teach students of the district shall conform to the requirements of the school code and Commonwealth's academic standards. I'm sure that sexually explicit material doesn't meet the school code and Commonwealth's academic standards.
And the third one down there, not all subjects, but on that is the third. Controversial issue.
But by stating that, that then becomes administration's opinion of
You're
that.
putting an
correct?
administrator in a position of having to determine whether it's, sorry, for lack of a better term, soft porn or hardcore porn.
Well, I don't think
know.
I don't think we should be teaching any kind of porn.
Yeah,
Well, except, I mean, could you read a book that mentions a rape in English literature? I mean, I don't know if any.
Rape's not, if you say, use the word
But I
rape,
mean-
it's not.
I understand what you're.
I would say, like you said.
But if you
depictions of
describe-
that-
If you describe how the rape happened and what that person did,
Yeah,
that's sexually explicit.
Yeah, those were some of the concerns.
question is, what language and where is that inserted?
I think it should be in there, but I
Probably
think a
under
different
guidelines.
policy.
And now, do we need to spell out exactly what has gone too far and how would you do that?
Well, I guess my question is,
If it describes a sex act, it's sexually explicit.
Yeah,
but do teachers have to run by?
See, I thought of that too,
So
Sue.
we could put that.
It didn't happen before.
we could
Yeah,
Put that
yeah.
in administrative regulations that go with this policy. That
One
then
was
better
library,
outline
wasn't being taught.
Right.
the procedures and process.
Never been checked out either.
The teachers know. Again, we have a long principle. They didn't know. So we put that in regulation. Into this policy, you could get into more detail.
Should we hold off on that till we get the guidelines and put it in the
Yeah.
guidelines?
Yeah.
All right.
okay. All right, so we're gonna move on?
Yeah.
Okay. The next category is definition. I'm not sure if it should say definitions, put an S on that. A controversial issue is defined as a significant academic, social, political, or ideological matter about which there exist opposing viewpoints and or multiple perspectives. Anybody have any comments on that particular statement? Okay. For purposes of this policy, a current event is defined as a topic on which opposing points of view have been promulgated by responsible opinion and is not expressly enumerated in the course guide as appropriate for the course of study.
I wasn't sure what promulgated by responsible opinion, that seemed unnecessarily. Like whose responsible opinion, meaning like the media?
Yeah, in other words, it has to be the New York Times, not Fox News or something like that, right? I mean, you can see that kind of a bias in that kind of a statement itself. So,
But it says on which opposing points of view have been.
Right, I mean, we can't help the fact that CNN's gonna say this and Fox is gonna say that.
Why is that a definition of a
And both
current
of them,
event?
Why not strike by responsible opinion and leave that qualifier out?
It's not necessarily.
Okay,
Well, I
so
mean,
a current event
res-
that doesn't meet that other part is not considered.
responsible opinion sounds a little bit like an oxymoron too.
Yeah.
If it just reads opposing points of view have been promulgated and is not expressly enumerated, just if you just leave out the by responsible opinion, it we try to qualify it. Just points of view have been promulgated, which is, that's the root of it.
What's the exact definition? Are you looking at promulgated?
Put forth.
ULGA.
No, you don't have your,
You want the definition of promulgated?
Yeah. okay, make known or public.
Which oppose, can we just say on which opposing points of view are being publicly discussed?
I'm okay with
or-
taking by responsible opinion out.
Yeah, I think I'm.
But, I mean, yeah, that's true. A rumor.
I think their intent was to, without saying, social media versus me.
Um,
A whole lot of stuff like this.
The problem is, you got the same thing on,
In the mass media.
in the mass media.
Yep.
Hmm,
But if it's widely disseminated in the mass media, then it almost becomes a current event that students may have questions about, right?
Well, actually, we probably can leave it in there because it's covering opposing points of view, so it's covering both sides.
yeah,
By responsible opinion on both sides, whether right or wrong, but the key word is opinion.
yeah, opinion, definitely. Because you're seeing the same news event described differently by different news sources.
Yeah, let's leave that in there. I'm just leaving it in.
Yeah,
A legitimate opinion. I can't think about something.
it's not necessarily responsible, is it? By, is there a better
Like
word?
recognized, or like something, like you said, to differentiate from
Would
social
recognize
media.
opinion, does that make more sense, Ron? Instead of responsible, recognized opinion?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah, because who's to say it's responsible?
Right, like Joe Blow on social media isn't gonna be.
I think recognized is a good word. Because, you know. If one of the news sources says something, there's gonna be a whole group of people that. No matter who's saying it,
Against it.
well, either is, buys into it or doesn't buy into it. Dan, what do you think about the word recognized opinion instead of responsible opinion?
Facebook is written.
No, okay.
Oh, recognized by.
Or promulgated by responsible opinion of recognized news sources? Or would you say accredited?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, bad thing about it is accredited, that means that they're credible. And we all know that news sources aren't credible anymore.
wouldn't,
By the general public, I mean,
no, that doesn't get to social media. But I guess the key question is what makes CNN more recognized than small operation on Facebook?
or it's almost like if it's Susie's opinion, just one person on TikTok.
Well, but you know what? If something gets big enough on Facebook, it is now recognized and therefore worthy of discussion.
And just because it's recognized doesn't mean it's right.
Right. We're not saying it's right here, are we?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So maybe recognized opinion just does work. Or responsible.
No, I think recognized opinion, because you recognize that it is an opinion.
Yeah, no,
that's good.
that makes sense. I agree.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna change responsible to recognized. I mean, it may very well be beneficial to discuss, in class where what people are saying came from. Yeah.
At the end, yeah.
At the end.
Well, and I guess if God forbid there's some TikTok challenge where people or whatever, they get inhaling cinnamon. The science teacher might want to talk about that.
Yeah. I think by saying recognize, like what you said, you're recognizing that it is an opinion. Yeah.
I think that's good for me.
Okay, are we ready to move on? Yeah. All right. So we're moving on to a divisive concept means the concept or theory that espouses as accepted or acknowledged fact, the idea that one race, national origin, ethnicity, or sex is inherently superior. 2, an individual by virtue of his/her race, national origin, ethnicity, or sex is inherently racist, sexist, or oppressive. 3, an individual's moral character is an inherent function of his or her race, national origin, ethnicity, or sex. 4, an individual inherently bears responsibility for actions committed in the past by other members of his/her race, national origin, ethnicity, or sex. 5, any individual must feel discomfort, guilt, anguish, or psychological distress because of his or her race, national origin, ethnicity, gender, or gender identity. 6, the objective premise of meritocracy is racist or sexist. 7, ascribes character traits, values, moral and ethical codes, privileges, status, or beliefs to a race, national origin, ethnicity, or sex of an individual because of his/her race, national origin, ethnicity, or sex. Anybody want to comment on this?
I support it.
Yeah, should religion be in there too, though?
I mean, that cuts all ways. That's, wow, that's good stuff there. I like it.
Yeah, what do you think? Should? Because I don't know that religion would really fall under ethnicity. Should we add the word religion to all of those?
It definitely need heard.
Because then you're including that no one should
anything.
feel discomfort, guilt, you know. it's
Right,
like,
right,
right.
All right, so we're gonna,
You're adding religion, all,
All seven.
where it lists, okay.
Is there anything we're forgetting? I guess disability wouldn't apply, right?
assuming we have,
This is those-
right, right.
Those or beliefs. Yeah. You can change.
Well, I don't know if you want to add beliefs, you know. I mean, because if you have somebody that believes that they're Superman,
I don't want to get into belief.
Yeah, it's
Getting
too,
into
yeah.
indoctrination.
right,
Like, for instance,
right,
the
right,
district wants-
yeah, I don't think,
Teachers want nothing to do with it.
but you feel okay with religion?
Yeah, that's. fine.
Okay.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
That's usually what's grouped in. Those.
Are we all good with that? Can you think of anything else?
You're adding that in number 1.
All seven.
Religion to all seven.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna move on. Indoctrination is the process of teaching a person or group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. Should indoctrination not be bolded?
Yeah, it actually should be.
Well, and my only question was, in my mind, critical thinking is the opposite of indoctrination. So should we balance that by almost, I guess that would repeat things in the purpose, but critical thinking is being encouraged to explore fully and fairly all sides of it.
I don't know that we need to add
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
no. I think by the term putting in uncritically in there, we're,
Yeah,
all right, are we good to move on?
Mhm.
Okay. You ready?
Yep.
All right, authority. The board recognizes that some deviation from the assigned course guide is necessary in the free exchange of the classroom. However, the board specifies for the guidance of the superintendent and staff that any discussion of current events and controversial issues, that's what we're adding, in the classroom shall be conducted in an unprejudiced and dispassionate manner and shall not disrupt the educational process, fail to match the maturity level of students, or be unrelated to the goals of the district and the appropriate course guide.
is that a term, Dan, course guide? So you've got curriculum, you have a lesson plan. I guess my only problem is I agree that it should not fail to match the maturity level of the students, but I think 20 different teachers might have 20 different ideas about what that is. So I'm not,
Well, yeah, but that, there again, that's getting,
okay. So the administration and the parent and the teacher.
yeah. I mean, I think you're gonna see this get tested from time to time.
Mhm.
And it's ultimately gonna fall upon the administration.
That line was used to address the. That reading material that was in the English class.
Mhm.
It did not match the maturity level.
Well, that material didn't
I know,
match.
But, okay, and that
Of
was
any
not a
student.
clear case, yeah.
it's something they do in higher ed.
Yes,
In
yeah.
a higher ed,
Right.
more mature.
But what you're saying, not here, but what you're saying is that you want something
down here.
a little bit more specific as to what. Yeah, okay. All right, we're gonna move on. The board shall permit the introduction, impartial study and discussion, and proper educational use of current events and other controversial issues, provided that their use in the instructional program. Now, why exactly is that? What is this one referring to right here?
I think it cites the law, maybe, is that the form?
Are we not-
Policy.
Did I miss
So if
the,
we copy and pasted
footnote?
it, maybe it's from what they had.
do we need, are there footnotes that attach to that, Dan?
I think that's what has to still be put in.
Oh, okay.
Number law.
So one refers to policy,
Policy 106.
which would be their policy 106 though.
Oh, sweet, Jim. 6 is curriculum.
It has to do with instruction. Or is it that?
Well, and the other thing too is referring to that, I think. And this,
Those are legal citations
Yeah.
and or references
Yeah.
to other board policies that need to be added.
okay. Okay, so you'll add those,
Probably, yeah, you probably could cross-reference and cross,
right, we have it over here.
yeah, they have them.
So we're just gonna use what they. You'll insert that then. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, so, provided that their use in the instructional program is related to the course's instructional goals and the student's level of maturity. Here again, that's falling upon administration to determine the level of maturity. Teachers shall not indoctrinate or persuade students to a particular point of view or include presentation of divisive concepts. So I think
I would
that's,
say as defined, like, I mean, I guess it's implied, but it's like as defined by this, not as defined by.
well, it's already,
Definition.
right, that's already doing that, yeah.
We'll see.
That's,
Yes.
is related to the course's instructional goals tricky? Like, so if a student asks a question about a controversial or current event. And it's not a course that's whatever, civics, history, government. Then the teacher would have to say that's not relevant to our instruction.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why a math teacher would need to discuss a divisive
Okay, so
concept.
they would say,
you know?
bring that up with your.
Yeah. Yeah,
civics and-
what's your thought there?
I agree.
That maybe this, divisive concept should not be discussed in math class. Yeah. Right, but we're saying that, like, for example, a math teacher shouldn't be. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, if it's related to math, then yes. Yeah, right,
So teachers need to keep that in mind, obviously.
right. So, yeah. I mean, I think we can all agree that there shouldn't be a race debate in the middle of math class, because that's not the purpose of math class. Right. And if there's any sort of material that brings up any sort of race debate in math class, then that would need to be examined there again by administration.
Well, I think For me, with the words shall not indoctrinate or persuade students to a particular point of view. I think that is preventing teachers from make point or taking their opinion and making it more important
Right,
than
Right.
anybody else's opinion.
right.
So I'm good with that.
Yeah, I am too. Encourages balanced presentations and open-mindedness. Well,
And that adds to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Balanced presentation.
correct,
In other words, not just one-sided.
correct. Is conducted in a spirit of scholarly inquiry.
Means if they're not learning anything, why bring it up?
Yeah. Nothing in this policy shall prohibit the introduction, discussion, or proper educational use of documented historical facts in the context of current events and controversial issues. So what we're saying is that if something is recognized as being a historical fact, that's fair game. Which is I think that's supporting what I'm saying is that we need to teach history the way it was, you know. Right,
Yeah, teach history the way it's meant to be taught and not interject things. to
opinion,
Opinion.
Right.
Into.
so I wholeheartedly support number 5. Yeah. All right, does anybody have any issues with 1 through 5 here? Okay. Ron, we're coming up on guidelines, so I'm not sure how you want to word what you want to word, but okay. 109.
Dan, let me ask you a question. A teacher, they have a lesson plan. The lesson plan, is that approved by the administration on a yearly basis?
They're reviewed, the curriculum is approved.
Right, but
on an annual
but a
basis,
lesson
not-
plan goes into more
not
detail
daily
than what the
lesson plan.
curriculum is.
Any material that they bring in that is not part of the curriculum goes through a process. Department chair, principal,
Okay, so,
where it fell short
yeah,
that incident.
it
didn't-
wasn't
It didn't go, it went
right.
after the fact.
right,
Um, But similar to our library books, they go through, a librarian does that.
now,
Yeah. Yeah, we were relying on the
right,
subscription,
I
in your
know.
library deal, but that is, it's
change,
changed.
yes. We can wait and go over that policy 109.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit concerned that we're gonna run out of
Yeah.
time for
I think
today.
it better if it's there because that's where. That's where a lot of the library
Yeah.
books.
I don't disagree that that there needs to be somewhere, yeah.
That are brought in, there's a bit more there.
Let's plan on having another
Yeah,
meeting for 109 then. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so now we're under guidelines. Materials proposed to teach students of the district shall conform to the requirements of the school code and Commonwealth's academic standards. Anybody disagree? Oh,
And 2 and 3,
is rep-
it's under the
School code.
Pennsylvania school code, and that's school code too, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not sure what it's,
Well, maybe one's school code and one's.
what's the difference here, Dan?
They're both public school code.
Okay,
It's just probably an act passed later that updated the. code.
gotcha, okay. All right, so we're good with that. Teachers shall not teach, instruct, or train any student to adopt or accept as fact any divisive concept. I'm agreeable to that.
So
Yeah, okay. Not all subjects, curricular matters, or grade levels are appropriate or conducive for discussion of current events or controversial issues. And that's pulling up a school code too as well, right?
yes,
So I wonder exactly what that one's saying. Do you think that would spell out a little bit more?
It probably had a little detail, it's law, so probably had less detail in policy.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, that's sort of flipping that back to administration again and curriculum director, correct? Yeah. Well, and I mean, if somebody has a disagreement, they're gonna bring that to administration, correct? So it goes to the teacher first and then to the administration, so. And then if something is extremely controversial and we have an administrator that's pushing buttons, then that gets discussed with the board and the board would have that discussion, correct?
That would go to the superintendent.
And if we still, I mean, but for example, if the superintendent still rendered an opinion that was against what the majority of the public believed, then, or the board believed rather, then that, okay. Okay, so ultimately it comes down to the board making a final decision. Students shall be introduced to opposing viewpoints, yeah. I think you can add the yes. Assignments shall include materials and or resources from several available sources.
Does it?
we gotta make something here where there's several available sources aren't all on one side.
Well, they're doing the opposing view. That's the next thing.
Students shall be introduced to-
Where they-
Well, and if several available sources all agree, then it's not a problem. Right,
Yeah, I give you an example in CSS and technical communication and honor tech communication. Students write pundits based on opinion pieces, and students are given a wide variety
Okay.
of resources to get those opinions from. It's really up to the student to use their resource.
Okay,
okay. Teachers shall make available alternative assignments if, should that say, if a parent / guardian requests, yeah. So when instruction includes current events and or controversial issues.
I think we could take this so.
Teachers.
Yeah, no, I.
Well, no, I mean, it could be there, but we can take it out. Yeah. Okay. And student and or parent / guardian concerns regarding current events and or controversial issues should be discussed with the teacher. If satisfaction is unattainable, a meeting may be scheduled with the principal.
I agree that it should be discussed with the teacher first. If they don't feel like they got
Right, right.
satisfaction, then they should, yeah, I agree.
Any comments, Sue?
I agree.
All right,
Gosh, this is easier.
I mean, can we add, I mean, there's a chance that they won't be satisfied with the principal either, so their next step is to go to the superintendent or
Right, follow the
but
chain of
what would be
command,
using
What
the
would be the-
chain of
or
command.
the organizational flow chart or whatever.
should
Good,
maybe
I'd like that
scheduled
it
with the
specifies the
principal?
You
order.
can do, maybe schedule with the principal followed by. Be it curriculum director or assistant superintendent, and then final superintendent. You could list the,
List all the,
yeah,
list the chain of command.
comma, yeah, right after.
Yeah,
principal, and then followed by,
Is there a generic way to say that though, instead of listing all the,
Decisions, yeah.
right?
Take it away.
you could just have all the organizations, I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But
Chain.
if satisfaction is unattainable, a meeting may be scheduled using the chain of command.
Using the chain of command, starting with the principal?
Starting with the
All
principal.
right, that sounds good. Using the chain of command. Starting. Okay, we good there?
Mhm.
All right. Delegation of responsibility. In the discussion of any event, a teacher may express a personal opinion, but shall identify it as such and must not express an opinion for the purpose of persuading students to his or her point of view. Totally agree with that.
I think that's,
I
I'm gonna argue.
I
against
don't
both sides.
agree with that.
So I think teachers are so powerful that even when they say it's my,
That's exactly what I was gonna say, because students look up to the teachers. Even though the teacher might say it's only their opinion, their opinion holds a lot of weight.
Yeah, that's true.
I could.
But
I
now
could-
you're asking them to constantly guard what their, their theory or their thoughts.
I
So,
could live with, may express a personal
Yeah.
opinion, but shall identify it as such, period.
yeah. And we don't, yeah. Yeah,
Your attorney's also gonna tell you. Off on first of all.
But they can't persuade, they can't indoctrinate. They can't.
yeah, I think you're, yeah, that's gonna be tough if you say they can't ever. I mean. Even if they don't say something, they might, a facial expression may give away what they think, and now, we don't want them to completely shut down.
All right,
Me.
how about this? How about if we take the words must not and capitalize those
Yeah,
for emphasis?
that's fine with me. You're sure.
Well, or you could say, but shall identify it as such and acknowledge that other people feel differently.
And it's written there for the purpose of persuading.
Right.
Okay, it's not saying that might be a side effect. It's saying your goal can't be to say.
I mean, I think there's gonna
Okay.
have to be this, I
Okay.
mean, there's gonna be so many subjects where you're gonna have to, talk about things.
Yeah, I like that. What did Ron say? Capitalize.
I'm good with what Ron said there. Capitalize that must not to show how serious we are. Sure. Did that get us through that one?
You like it bold too, Mr. Snell?
Underline. for the
Absolutely.
purpose.
All right. All right, and then finally.
Maybe in red.
The assistant superintendent shall be responsible to the board of directors for the district's curriculum. He shall establish procedures for enforcement of this policy. We talked about this briefly.
I think it should be changed to the superintendent. The superintendent should be responsible to the board of directors.
Superintendent or curriculum director or start.
Well,
Well, ultimately, the curriculum director answers to the superintendent. So
Right.
when you get right down to it,
Yeah, I can
it's the
see-
chain of
I see
command
what you're
again.
saying. My thought was administrator in charge of curriculum.
It should be superintendent, but with the current situation. Moderating.
Yeah.
Okay,
Even
the
with
assistant superintendent or
It should just be the superintendent.
All right.
Yeah,
You're right. That should be superintendent. You're correct.
Just be that.
Yeah. I thought you were trying to hit for whoever's doing curriculum in case we
No, I-
switch back.
You're gonna.
That to superintendent. Okay,
Woo-hoo.
we did promise that we would have public comment. So if anybody has anything to say on this, please step forth now.
I appreciate what you think. And to affirm the vote, or
speak up, Rick.
I hope that this will be given an affirmative vote. Sounds like we're on the right track. Thank you. I think essentially right from the start here, the main thing is that having historical context and having discussion with your students, I think, is a very positive thing.
Mhm.
I think that's not a problem. Where you run into a problem is, CRT is not history. That's somebody's concept about bending things up into a pretzel and having somebody try to figure it out, which is not going to be possible, wherein becomes your divisive situation. I think it's all good to discuss history or anything about history. And the thing is that the controlling factor in the classroom at that point needs to be the kids, not the teacher. When there's a discussion, it should be a free-flowing forum. What are we teaching kids for? Are you gonna pump them through all sorts of Pavlovian doctrine where they're just gonna recite and repeat what they're fed? Or are you gonna teach them how to think? We have a dearth of people in this country that know how to think empirically. And the education system is where they're supposed to learn that. Nobody learns anything if they're programmed. And so much of education now, and I saw this happening when I went to school 50 years plus ago. There were programmatic teachers, and then there were empirical teachers. We hated the empirical teachers because they made us think. But I'll tell you, we grew to love them because they made us think. They took away the things that were the crutches of getting the A's and the 100s if you said everything by rote perfectly. That's not learning.
And what's going on with so many of these odd concepts that are infiltrating education and society broadly today is the fact that you got to be online and you better be with the program or you're wrong. And the teacher, the administrator, the ombudsman, the president will step on you if you don't do it the right way. That's where you have a chance with this to make a real mark against that sort of philosophy and bring back free thought. Nobody's ever going to be hurt by discussion or argument. We formed a nation by doing that. And I'll tell you, if we lose that proposition with our youth, we lose our country. So I am, full stop with what you're looking to do here. And what you've shown this evening as policy change I think are well warranted and need to be done. And I think it's a timely thing. I've seen today, and some of you may have seen it as well, a math teacher that showed a video. It's a viral video. It lasts probably about 40 seconds. Where we're showing all sorts of video about Pride Month in a math class. And the kids were they had huge question marks over their head. What is this doing here? And it was school-wide, and I don't know the school, but it's out there. It's in the ether now, and it's available to be seen. But the story is that's not the province of education, is to program people. I don't care what it is, but you cannot be bending the free will of individuals to anything other than to find themselves through education and with empirical discussion and argument to build their lives and to find out how to think. Because if we don't have people that think and only know what the dogma that they're being fed is going to be, and that's what it is for the rest of your life, we lose. And this, again, I must commend you for taking and having this meeting tonight. And I am going to assume that it's going to be voted up properly as policy. I certainly hope so. And on that, I will thank you for your time and hope that an affirmative decision is made on this tonight. Appreciate it.
Hey, Jack, I'm going to just caution you here. This is comments on the policy committee meeting prior. This is not the official board meeting quite yet.
Oh, yeah,
So
I about half understand that. I didn't know anything about this.
yeah, this is a policy committee meeting. We'll start the regular board meeting shortly.
Well, this is, it pertains to what I want to know, what classes does this pertain to that you're talking about, all this stuff that's coming in that doesn't pertain to education? It's just
What we're discussing tonight would pertain to every class.
okay, some teachers like a math teacher, chemistry, physics, or whatever, are coming out with off the wall stuff and teaching it to the students. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
All right. Well, I don't know how much your law classes, how big they are, but some of that stuff you were talking about, they have to say some of that stuff if your law classes are amount to anything, some of that stuff that you don't want them to hear. But that's what's in the law classes. That's what law is all about.
Correct.
And in current events, I know when we had current events, everybody they didn't want to say their current event. It's already been said. But I mean, if you had one bad apple, you said something about some teacher or something that might have said something to, and that could happen. That could happen in any school. I'll just tell you a little story. They had this thing up in Massachusetts and they sent this guy in, this 28-year-old, to apply for a job. He went in and was talking to the superintendent, and the superintendent liked him. He says, yeah, you got the job. Well, the superintendent were walking out of the room, and that guy says to the superintendent, I want you to know I had a relationship with a 15-year-older where I came from. Well, the superintendent says, that's all right. We got some teachers like that already in this school. That's just a little story,
Wow.
It was on the radio. I picked it up. No, whatever. I mean, I don't understand this, somebody.
Jack, what this policy is for, it's to add meat to an already policy, a policy already in effect. Where the administration can make, if needed, can make an employee of the district accountable.
That sounds right, yeah. I
That's
mean,
what this policy, and that's why this policy is getting, hopefully changed, is so the administration can hold, our employees accountable.
Yeah, that sounds right, absolutely. Yep, okay.
Thank you, Jack. All right.
Hi, Saray Altabrando, 416 Cypress Street. I know I said
And let
it.
me make one comment. Regular meeting, we're gonna let you go and then we're gonna cut it at that.
I did have one concern about the policy. Otherwise, I think it's excellent. It offers so much clarification about teachers offering their opinion. Of course, in deference to the First Amendment, maybe it should be if the current event is relevant to the subject matter. I know that was already brought up. I worry that students might feel prejudiced against or intimidated by teachers giving their personal opinion in a class that they're teaching on, even if they express it as a personal opinion. I always say I was radicalized in 10th grade history or social sciences class here because I had to learn more to argue back with my teacher. Because I didn't want to just be like, well, I don't think that's right. I had to have an argument. So I do worry that, I mean, that's an excellent thing. And I think most teachers are very professional about being impartial or excusing themselves from their opinions. But I do worry about that is my comment. I think you both expressed concerns. I'll defer to the board's agreement, but thank you.
Thank you. Yep. All right. So as the committee members, do we want to vote, or we do want to vote to approve the changes that were made tonight? So I'm going to call for a vote. We'll just go this order.
Can I just?
Yes.
add one more thing,
Oh.
or am I too late?
Nope.
Actually, do we need to do a motion? Okay,
You vote to bring it out of committee. And,
You can make a recommendation.
and make it.
okay. No,
but
we know that.
We're
just
voting to make the
Right,
recommendation,
correct,
make
yeah,
a recommendation to the board.
right. So what did you say?
Well, number 3, right above the guidelines and the board shall permit. I guess to follow up from what Mr. Hauser said, and I guess it says document. I almost like adding number 3, encourages balanced presentations and open-mindedness and examination of documented facts and evidence. You think that's implied?
I don't know. I think maybe it is
Well-
kind of implied.
Because it's almost like a presentation or open-mindedness.
Look
Could
at,
be an opinion. This is kind of saying we value critical thinking.
look
that-
at.
Okay, all right.
All right.
That's fine, yeah.
So I vote personally, I'm not sure exactly the procedure for doing this.
To
We'll just
recommend-
discuss it,
To recommend,
but it's not, is this an official vote as in the? All right, so I mean, I'm yes for recommending, Sue,
For tonight,
for recommending this come up to the, oh, would it come up? When would we-
First reading in July.
Reading is.
oh, okay,
yeah,
yeah, because sometimes things,
yeah,
yeah, that's fine.
right.
Meeting, when there's still a change. That.
Okay.
And then approve the final approval.
But I believe we are all three in agreement to recommend this come up on the July meeting.
Make change. But they. But.
Very good.
Now we gotta get started.
All right.
And for those online, you'll lose your video signal. In fact, the whole signal for a minute or two while we disconnect and reconnect. So stay with us. The regular meeting will start momentarily.